Hi, 4th grade, and welcome back to Math with Mr. G. Today we're going to be covering Week 2, Day 1. Let's look at our objective today before we begin. So our standard for today is for NBT B4, and we're going to be fluently adding and subtracting multi-digit whole numbers using the standard algorithm. So we're going to be looking at our subtraction rules especially today as we move forward through these questions. So I'm going to grab my marker here. And we'll look at the first one. Let me zoom in just a little bit for you guys so you can see it a little easier. So I have 101,660 subtracting 91,680. So let's get started right away on this. 0 minus 0 is 0. 6 minus 8, I can't do. I can't take 8 from 6. So I actually need to borrow. This becomes a 5 because I'm taking 1 away. As you move that 1 over, remember that you're really multiplying by 10, right? It's increasing by 10. So I don't have just 6 anymore. I now have 16. 16 minus 8 is 8. 5 minus 6 is impossible, so I need to borrow again. This 1 becomes a 0, bringing my 1 over. This is 15. 15 minus 6 is 9. Now looking over here, 0 minus 1, I can't do, so I got to borrow. Oh, but there's a problem here. We can't actually borrow from 0. There's nothing there to borrow. So we kind of have to do kind of a hop here. So we're actually going to borrow from this 100,000s place, make this 0. This is now 10. And don't make the mistake of subtracting here. We still have to borrow over here. This 10 is now a 9, making this 0 now 10. That hop can get very confusing, so make sure you're taking your time and really double checking your work when you do that. 10 minus 1 is 9. 9 minus 9 is 0. I don't need to bring that down. So let's put our comma over. 1, 2, 3, comma. All right, let's go on to the next one. Okay, so let's subtract. 0 minus 0 can't be anything more or less than 0. Nothing from nothing gives you nothing. 6 minus 8 is impossible, so I need to borrow, making this 5. This becomes 16. 16 minus 8 is 8. 5 minus 9 is impossible. I can't borrow from 5, so I need to actually borrow from over here, making this a 0. This is now 15. 15 minus 9 is 6. Let's look over here. 0 minus 9, also impossible. I'm looking next door to borrow here. I can't borrow from 0, so I actually have to hop again, and this is where, again, it gets kind of tricky and go kind of slow on your end. This is 0. I'm bringing 10 over, making this 10, but I have to bring it over again. So this is now 9, and this is 10. So when there's a 0 here, you got to keep kind of hopping over until you can find something with value to then borrow and bring over and borrow again until you can reach the point where you need to subtract. 10 minus 9 is 1. 9 minus nothing is 9, and there's nothing else to subtract. 1, 2, 3, comma. Great. All right, let's scroll down. All right, so 1 minus 2 is impossible to do. We can't subtract 2 from 1, so let's borrow. The 6 becomes a 5, and this 1 now becomes an 11. 11 minus 2 is 9, just like that. 5 minus 0 is 5. 5 minus 7 can't do. I have to borrow. I'm going to borrow here, make this a 1, bringing 10 over. This is now 15. Great. 15 minus 7 is 8. I need to look here, subtract. I can't subtract 4 from 1, so I need to borrow here to make this 3. I have a prettier 3 here than what I had. And now make this 11. 11 minus 4 is 7. Now I'm looking again. 3 minus 4 is impossible, so I'm going to subtract from here, make this 1. This is now 13. 13 minus 4 is 9. 1, bring it down, just like that. Oof, a lot of borrowing in that one. 1, 2, 3, comma. Great. Let's look at D here. Same method, just kind of plug in, repeat, piece by piece by piece all the way through. So I have to do 1 minus 7. Cannot do. I have to borrow here, making this 5. This becomes an 11. 11 minus 7 is 4. Looking here, 5 minus 8 is impossible, so I need to borrow from that as well. So this is now 4, this is 15. 15 minus 8 is 7. Now moving on, 4 minus 9, still impossible. I need to borrow. A lot of borrowing in this one. Bring it over here, 14. 14 minus 9 is 5. 1 minus 4, impossible, so I need to borrow. 3, this becomes an 11. 11 minus 4 is 7. Now 3 minus 7, still impossible. I need to borrow. We're almost done here. 13. 13 minus 7 is 6. Bring down my 1. All right. 1, 2, 3, comma. Great. Zoom out a little bit and let's take a look at this word problem. So before I even start anything with my word problem here, I'm going to put my cube method here on the side. So C, to circle, you underline, B, box, E, make an equation and explain if necessary, and then solve. Cubes. It's a great method. Let's begin with my red marker inside of this. So David is flying from Hong Kong to Buenos Aires, both cities in the world. The total flight distance is 11,472 miles. That's a long trip. If the plane has 7,793 miles left to travel, how far has it already traveled? So if I were to draw a picture of this, let's say Hong Kong is here, Buenos Aires is here. The total distance to it is 11,472 miles. So far, he has, in his plane, only gone about 7,793. So what we're looking for is to find this piece here, how much left he has to go. So let's cubes this and see if we can find a method to help us. First, circle important numbers. I have 11,472 and 7,793. Great. Next, I need to underline. I'm going to underline important units or any key or clue words to help me solve this equation. So I'm going to be underlining miles. That's our unit. And I'm going to be underlining left to travel. When you see the words left, like how much is left, you're always going to be subtracting. Next, I need a box. I'll use my blue. I'm going to box what is being asked. And what I'm asking to solve here is how far has it already traveled? All right, so let's subtract. I have 11,472. I'm subtracting 7,793. Okay, same method as before. 2 minus 3 is impossible, so I need to borrow, making this an 8, and this a 12. 12 minus 3 is 9. 8 minus 9 is impossible, so I'm going to borrow from this 4, making it a 3. 18. 18 minus 9 is 9. 3 minus 7, impossible, so I'm going to borrow again here. This is 0. This is now 13. 13 minus 7 is 6. 0 minus 7, impossible. I can't take 7 from nothing, so I need to borrow from here. This is a 0, and this now becomes 10. 10 minus 7 is 3. 1, 2, 3, comma. Okay. And I've solved, but now I need to rewrite this. 3,699 is the correct solution, but I need to rewrite this. So I'm asked for how far has it already traveled, and I'm looking at miles. So the plane has already traveled 3,699 miles. And that's my final answer. Ooh. I'm circling it. Great. Okay, one last piece here. This is an example, as always, off of our assessment. I need to add these two numbers. So a little change of pace from our subtraction today. 3 plus 5 is 8. 6 plus 4 is 10. 1 plus 6 is 7. A plus 2 is 10. Carry the 1. Bring it down. 1, 2, 3, comma, 10,708. And that's the top answer right there. Awesome. Okay, I look forward to seeing your work, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.